Now's a good time to remember where tequila's story truly began. In 1795, Cuervo invented tequila.
Cuervo.
What are you doing here?
Cuervo. Anytime someone says Cuervo, I show up.
Well, I do know that to be true, but even during ad reads, like...
Cuervo.
I think he could lay out, especially for one of our great partners.
Sweet, delicious Cuervo.
Since then, Cuervo has stayed true to its roots. The same family, the same land, the same passion.
Cuervo.
So, enjoy the tequila that started it all. Cuervo.
Cuervo.
The tequila that invented tequila. Proximo. Cuervo.com. Please drink responsibly.
Cuervo.
And Doug. Here we have the Limu Emu in its natural habitat, helping people customize their car insurance and save hundreds with Liberty Mutual. Fascinating. It's accompanied by his natural ally, Doug.
Limu, is that guy with the binoculars watching us?
Cut the camera. They see us.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Savings vary. Underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates. Excludes Massachusetts.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. Checking off the boxes on your to-do list is a great feeling. And when it comes to checking off coverage, a State Farm agent can help you choose an option that's right for you. Whether you prefer talking in person, on the phone, or using the award-winning app, it's nice knowing you have help finding coverage that best fits your needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Welcome to the Big Suey, presented by DraftKings,
Why are you listening to this show?
the podcast that seems very similar to the other Dan Le Batard podcast.
I'm sorry, I'm not going to apologize for that.
In fact, the only difference seems to be this imaging.
I have been tempted in restaurants just walking past tables to grab somebody's fries that if they're just there. That hasn't happened to you guys?
I've done it.
And now, here's the marching man to nowhere, Fat Face, and the habitual liar.
This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Let's get some real football expertise to answer some of those questions that we didn't have answers to earlier. We'll do that in a second with Domonique Foxworth. But before we do that, Roy, can you please tell me who the nuttiest fan of the week was, brought to you by Hampton Farms? We got to send Domonique some peanuts so that we're literally paying him in peanuts.
Yeah, congratulations to Texas Tech Tortillas. They are this week's nuttiest fan, presented by Hampton Farms, the official snack of the tailgate.
Well deserved. Been doing that for 30 years. We just noticed.
That's right. And
That's
we're
great.
celebrating it by making. You shouldn't throw away tortillas. I think they should be penalized for that, not rewarded, but I'm not in charge around here. A couple of stats from the Dolphins game last night and in general, okay? Last night was the first Dolphins drive with multiple third down conversions of 10-plus yards since Week 8 of 2022. And also, Mike Renner of CBS Sports is going to hit Dolphin fans right in the groin region with Tua's cap number is higher than Josh Allen's in 2025, 2026, 2027, and 2028. That's a structural flaw in your division.
He competed in The Bachelorette.
Domonique, what can you tell me, and welcome, sir, about what you saw last night and how you felt about it? Because I was arguing that's about as well as the Dolphins can play.
Yeah, I mean, we don't do moral victories, but, I mean, that was a chance that you guys could have been looking at an overhaul after that game, and it feels like it was slightly encouraging. The stat about the multiple third down conversions is an interesting one because that's one thing that jumped out to me in the game is how many drives they had that were just empty, like 3-and-out drives, relative to the Bills, who I felt like never really went 3-and-out, which they did score on every drive. They missed a field goal. They weren't perfect either. But the Dolphins really put a ton of pressure on their not that great defense by going 3-and-out. So they have a long, beautiful, they had like a 9-yard drive, a 16-yard drive that ended in touchdowns. And that's like, this is good football team stuff. And Tua was excellent in certain situations. He was able to get out of the pocket and create and do like unorthodox outside of the structure type of things, the things that Chris was looking for him to do in the past. And I was impressed with him. But then those 3-and-out drives are really killer. And then, of course, there's penalties and late game turnovers that kill you guys. But the talent, it's just a reminder, the talent differential in the NFL is so minuscule that any team can find a way to compete if they put together some good drives and don't have stupid penalties and inopportune turnovers at the end of the game.
Domonique, it's hard for us because we're watching on TV and you can't see down the field, but like, what kind of defense?
Oh, see, that's where you're wrong. Amazon, baby. That Thursday night game, you watch the Next Gen joint? Oh, so much better.
What do they
the
do?
whole field.
Really?
Yeah, so that they have like a next, when they first came on Amazon, they had a bunch of different like side casts of like Dude Perfect and some other just trying to pull people in that were just boring and terrible. But they also had the next gen telecast, which the next gen telecast shows you the whole field, saves me so much time. I don't have to do too many rewatches because I can see the whole field from the beginning to the end of the game. It's great, but I still had to rewatch because last night I was teaching my son about exponents.
All right, so help me out here then, because I didn't know about that. Now, I'll also tell you I'm probably still not going to watch that. But anyway, I didn't know about that. So what is a defense doing that is preventing the Dolphins from even attempting anything over the middle or downfield or Waddle and Hill? Like, it was screen pass after screen pass.
We were saying before you came on here, Domonique, that Tua had more passes or as many passes behind the line of scrimmage as past the line of scrimmage.
So it's a combination of things. It's they're playing deep zones. They're forcing them to do that. They're giving extra attention to Tyreek Hill. They're only rushing 4, and Tua doesn't have a super strong arm. So the Dolphins blitzed a lot, but they also did some of this deep zone stuff to try to take away the big play, and they're tiny little windows. And Josh Allen can rip it into those windows. And so when they are small windows to get deep downfield, if you have the arm strength and the accuracy and the anticipation, which is what Tua used to be, like the end cuts on anticipation, then you can hit it. But I think that a lot of teams have decided that the way that they want to play Tua is challenge him to be able to attack down the field. Like challenge his team to have a really long drive without making a mistake by forcing them to check down and try to take Tyreek Hill out of the game. And if you're going to attack us downfield, you're going to have to squeeze it into a small zone with a quarterback who is not known for his arm strength.
But is that new? Were teams not doing that 2 years ago? Or is it, you think more, it is a drop-off from Tua?
No, I think it's somewhat of a change. They ran the ball well last night, but they ran the ball better in the pass, which then that would cause the guys to come up and be a little more aggressive. And also, I think the anticipatory throws and the Tyreek Hill rolling out of these cuts into the end cuts, I think it was slightly different. It was a little newer. And I think combining all those things in Tua has taken more and more hits. So I think that's also part of it where they're like, we're going to make him stand in this pocket. And we assume that he doesn't want to hit. We know you don't want him to get hit, so we're going to try to make this play take as long as possible. Because if you extend the play, and I haven't talked to the Bills coaching staff, but when I'm watching that tape, that's what I'm thinking. Is they're like, please, the more times we make you do this, the more likely you're going to make a mistake. So whether it's make you check down or make you try to squeeze it into a zone deep down the field or hold you or keep the coverage so long that you have to flush out of the pocket and create something on your own, either run or throw in a run, you are going to make a mistake. And Tua actually made fewer mistakes last night than I think the Bills expected him to, but the defense couldn't hold up.
So you're saying that the Miami Dolphins, structurally, one of the flaws is, I'm guessing, you don't want Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen to extend a play, but you do want Tua to extend a play?
Yeah, I think that's what they're hoping for. They're daring him all right, you need a big chunk sooner or later. That's one of the things. Explosive plays are really important to winning. You're going to need a big chunk. Do you have the arm strength and accuracy and faith, honestly, to let it rip down the field into this tight zone multiple times a game? If you don't, then you're going to have to roll out to force us to distort our zone. And we know, and no one would say this publicly, but in a football game, we know what you don't want as far as injury is concerned. And I think the opponents know that no one wants Tua to get hit. They don't want Tua running the ball, even though for whatever reason they do these zone reads where I'm like, there's no way you're actually going to let this man keep it on the zone read, are you? The backside end should not respect that zone read. But I think that's what they're thinking is let's put Tua in a position that he's uncomfortable. And even if it's not about exposing him to more hits, it's also he's not great in that outer structure. So we're going to force you to do what you don't want.
Is he missing things this season? Because kind of what you're saying, I noticed the past couple games, when he was the fastest to get rid of the ball and he was just throwing passes where he thought people were going to be, they were effective. This season, it seems like he has the ball longer. Numerically, he has the ball longer, where people would say, great, he has a better line, but it's been less successful. Is it just coincidental? Is he missing things, or are they just not there?
Yeah, so I think time to throw is one of those tricky ones that people assume means that your O-line is protecting you well, which I guess it could, but it also does mean that you are not playing within structure or you're not comfortable. So I think that it's part of the fact that we like, it's not a secret. That was the big move, is like, we're going to do these motions for Tyreek Hill and do these anticipatory deep end cuts. That was their offense. And that, again, is a shorter throw. So I think taking into account Tua's limitations with arm strength, the challenge is, and he did it, I think twice last night, that he hit the outside, deeper outcut throws. They're going to challenge him to do that because with that ball in the air for that long floating, they feel like that is to their advantage because he can't rip those throws.
Well, what else here, though? Because, Domonique, when you talk about margin for error in this sport, it's a bit crazy, but can we simplify this to when Tua was throwing the ball faster, getting rid of it faster than any quarterback ever, faster than Tom Brady? They had the best offense in the league statistically when he was getting rid of the ball faster than Tom Brady. Now he's literally taking 1 second longer. That's the difference between best offense in the league and a team that can't throw the ball down the field.
I mean, Dan, 1 second is an eternity in football. Like, I think it's like 2.5 seconds is like the average time to throw. So, like, a whole second is forever. It's going to change all the dynamics. And I also think that I want to say it's an oversimplification, but I think that makes it seem like that stat doesn't matter. I think that stat matters, but there's so many other confounding variables that will play into how effective this offense is. I think explosive plays are like the currency of offense in football. If you get a lot of explosive plays, then you're going to have a lot of success. Creating those explosive plays are sometimes dependent on other things that are less interesting or less attractive to talk about, which includes like the running game. That was the key to the Eagles last year, was they were able to consistently create explosive plays without the high risk of throwing the ball down the field. So throwing the ball downfield is a lower probability of success. So you don't want to do it all the time, even though you need explosives. Handing the ball off and also throwing the ball downfield opens you up to turnovers. Handing the ball off, worst case scenario, we're going to get a 2-yard gain, a 1-yard loss. We can live to fight another day. Best case scenario for the Eagles last year was we're going to get a 50-yard touchdown. And that was the same way that the Dolphins offense was at one point, was they were getting explosive plays from the running attack, which then causes teams to not be comfortable, to sit back in those ridiculous zones. And then that opens up Tyreek Hill. You have to isolate Tyreek Hill if you're going to try to be aggressive in the running attack. And all of that stuff happened so fast that it protected the offensive line. They don't have those advantages right now because teams are not concerned as much about the running attack, and they're forcing Tua to make those throws that they weren't really taking away those deep end cuts as much as they've decided to now. But honestly, having said all of that, they were actually much better on offense than I anticipated that they would be, but the Bills defense is really injured and not all that great.
Domonique, what did you see on the interception?
I think the defensive tackle won really fast, which I think put pressure on Tua. Like, that was definitely a pass rush win. It was like less than a second. It felt like he was into his face, which gave him trouble. I think there was an anticipation that Tua knew where he wanted to throw that ball before the snap happened, which I don't think is a problem. But there's something that Tony Romo said to me a long time ago in a joint practice that we had when I was with the Broncos. Is we were doing one-on-ones, and I had a really good break on the ball, and he threw it super high, so I didn't get the interception. And I was like jokingly, you got lucky. And he was saying he never looks at the receiver in that situation. He's not throwing to a receiver. He's throwing away from the DB. And I think that when you know where your receivers are supposed to be, your eyes should be on the defensive players. And it was like an inside linebacker who widened his zone more quickly and wider than he normally would, and Tua didn't anticipate him doing it. He didn't see him doing it, and that's like, I'm not a quarterback. It seems ridiculous to say don't look at your receivers, look at the defenders, but it makes sense. If you know where your receiver is supposed to be, you need to be looking for threats, not looking for opportunities.
The NFL is back, Jack, and so are highly in-demand tickets. You get big-time matchups and prime time. The late afternoon slates are just unbelievable. This sport is delivering. The NFL is king sport in the United States. You know your boy is an NFL free agent, so he's looking all across that NFL schedule for the very best games. And when I do, my very first and only stop is the Game Time app. It's incredibly easy to use, and the Game Time guarantee means you can trust you'll get 100% authentic tickets on time and at the best price. Plus, fees are always included, so what you see is what you pay. You get zone deals, favorites, seat views, the low price guarantee, and Game Time's unparalleled ticket coverage. Take the guesswork out of buying NFL tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code Dan for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code DAN for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download the Game Time app today.
What does Zyn give you? Not just smoke-free nicotine satisfaction, but real freedom. Freedom to do what you love and choose your rewards. With Zyn Rewards, you can redeem points for premium tech, outdoor gear, and gift cards to your favorite retailers. Find your Zyn and keep finding rewards that fit your lifestyle at zyn.com/rewards. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
At Sierra, discover great deals on top brand workout gear, like high-quality walking shoes, which might lead to another discovery.
40,000 steps, baby. Who's on top now, Karen?
You've taken the office step challenge a step too far. Don't worry, though. Sierra also has yoga gear. It might be a good place to find your Zen. Discover top brands at unexpectedly low prices. Sierra, let's get moving.
Don Batard. I took my son to the barbershop to get a haircut, and my man gave out some limp dap.
Oh, no.
Oh,
damn.
Stugotz. I disowned him. I threw him right under the bus. I was like, whose kid is that out here dishing out limp dap?
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
I want to speed him up and get all around the league talking. No, I know, but I want to go all around the league.
You're doing good.
You're doing great.
Nice and slow, baby.
We've got a gimmick.
No,
You're a quickie guy.
We want quickie.
I'm not a quickie guy.
We want all football quickiness when we leave the Dolphins. But before I do that, I just wanted to ask a question to all of you. I noticed today, I had not noticed it before. I was driving and I saw a library in a place that I had not noticed that there was a library before. And I got to thinking as I drove by it, I'm like, how is the library not extinct by now? Are people just using it for the internet? Are they going, like, how has the library not yet gone extinct because you can get all this stuff without leaving your home? What are your thoughts on the library before we speed you up and bounce around the league?
That's amazing. I haven't given much thought to the library, but my guess is the reason why it's not extinct is because it's not a for-profit business and is supported by government funds, and the library is probably adapted to having programs, would be my guess, and people who can't afford to send their kids to camp, can't afford to send their kids to all types of classes and expose them to different things. My guess is that public libraries probably provide a lot of different those services, and it's still the internet. So yeah, I don't think that a lot of people are checking out books necessarily, but also I think people who don't have access or can't afford to buy a bunch of things who still like to read, they probably go there and get books. That was a weird change up.
I went to the library yesterday, Domonique, since this came up, the library. And what you mentioned, the library does have programs during the summer. They have things where like they have guests come in and they have like readings to kids, stuff like that. So my wife would take my daughters, like once a week to the library in the summer. And when they would go to the library, they'd listen to the readings and then they would, check out books and they'd come home and would read them the books or whatever. I found some of those library books, and I was like, we got to return these to the library. But she would take them to different libraries. So there's this one branch that they would do it on a Tuesday, and another branch they would do it like on a Monday or whatever, right? So then I was trying to figure out which library do these books come from. We thought it was this one branch, but I wasn't sure. So I was calling my wife, but she was at work. She wasn't answering. I'm like, I'm just going to go in and talk to the person at the front desk and figure out if this is the library these books came from, if I can return them here. So I asked the woman in Spanish. Did these books come from here? I have to return these books. My wife and daughter, I'm so sorry. They checked out these books a while back. Are they from this library? And you know what she told me? She goes, it doesn't matter. You can return them at any library, and then we'll figure it out. I was like, whoa, okay, hold on a second. I can just return these at any library. That's very convenient. I don't like that. Because then, and she's like, then we'll just send it to right library. I'm like, that, is I'm sure going to cost money. Where's that coming from? I don't like this. I feel like there should be accountability here, and I should know where these books should go. Not me, my family are the delinquents, not me. But regardless, I'm responsible for this family. I should have to drive to that library, not one of the employees here, however they do it, right? And then I said,
how many libraries do you guys frequent? I feel like most people, you got your neighborhood library.
I think we got like 3 down
There's a good amount of libraries, yeah. Different sizes. Some are like the main libraries, and there's like smaller ones in like little shopping centers. That's the one I was at yesterday trying to return these books, but they were from the library that was by the Home Depot on like 117th, where there used to be a all-you-can-eat pizza buffet. Anyways, so
I mean, no disrespect, but when I think of South Florida, I don't think of like the most well-read community. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, I will take that disrespectfully.
Down there,
how dare you?
I will take that disrespectfully, but I will move on nonetheless. So then I said to the librarian, I said, again, I'm so sorry. Thanks. She's like, they were from here, but they could be from anywhere. It's fine. I said, okay, I'm so sorry, but I know these are past due. Like, how much do I owe you?
Pink cocaine.
And you know what the librarian told me when I said, again, I know these are past due. How much do I owe you? She said, nothing. We don't charge late fees anymore. I was like, this is bullshit. Like, this is absolute madness. There need to be consequences for my delinquent family holding on to these books longer than they were supposed to. There's no accountability anymore in the library system. You could just take the books wherever you want. You don't have to pay if they're late. Bring them back if you want to. If you don't, no big deal. Like, this is insanity. Someone needs to come in.
That they're losing. That's how you know that they're losing, is because I know it doesn't make sense. You would think that an industry that's under stress would capitulate to everything, or would not capitulate to anything. They'd say, well, give me this, give me that. I need it. I need help. But no, when you're losing, you do whatever. Like, I'll take whatever.
No.
You're going to bring me some books back, please.
My kids need to learn about deadlines. Kids need to learn about accountability. This is where it goes. I mean, they don't drive yet, but this is where it goes back. This is how much you have to pay if you don't meet this deadline. You know, she told me, she's like, no, we don't really charge if they're late anymore. If someone needs the book, like, we'll call you and we'll ask for you to bring it back. It's like, you're not calling me to ask me to bring this book back. If I go to a library, the book's not there, I'm like, that's book's lost or whatever. But I've never gone to a librarian like, when are you expecting this back? Whatever. They're not doing that. The library right now, and I'm not endorsing this, but the plan that she laid out for me, free books forever. Just go in, take a book off the shelf, scan it out if you want to. Don't scan it out if you don't want to. Bring it back if you feel like it at any date and time. Doesn't matter. Here's a date 4 weeks from now. Here's a suggestion. If you don't bring it back, it doesn't matter. We're not going to charge you regardless. There's no consequence. This is a lawless society, and it starts with the libraries. Yeah. Like, someone needs to come in and be a library enforcer. And I said that if it's my mission in life to do that, it's not my calling that I thought I would be called for. But if I have to come in and I have to clean up the library system, I will do it. Not today, but at some point, like, I will do it if I have to. And I know what you guys are going to say. This was a Seinfeld episode. There was Bookman who would go in there and he took the job very seriously. The world could use more of those guys that go in there and respect the library. Okay. You can't just be taking books off the shelf and never having to return them.
I agree.
That's insanity. And when you do, just return it wherever you want, and maybe we'll figure it out, or maybe we won't.
And might I add, you were right to take that disrespectfully, because literacy rates in Miami-Dade County far exceed that of the greater D.C. area. Mr. Glasshouse, you're like Jess Smetana telling me how bad Miami is while she's in South Carolina. You shut your mouth.
I didn't say Miami was bad.
No, you were cracking jokes at our literacy
said we were
rate,
stupid.
Which, by the way, felt a little racist.
I thought you were mentioning cocaine also.
I was going to accuse him of racism.
Well, because how could all those Hispanics down there read?
That's right.
That's what that gave off.
That's what
that gave off.
Mike, I took it the same way you did.
That's what that gave off.
All right, let's turn our ire to Billy instead. It feels like he's on a slippery slope to authoritarianism. That's
accountability. There's rules.
This is a weird apology out of you. That's a weird apology.
Okay, hold on. I apologize that I associated Miami with things more fun and interesting than reading old paperbacks. My apologies. You guys are a very learned culture. Unfortunately, you use that education to do crypto scams and whatnot, but you're smart people.
No, things look chill in D.C. right now. You're right. You're right. We're the center of corruption. That's our bad. How could I confuse D.C. with corruption?
Domonique, let me ask you something. If you had a podcast recording and you just didn't show up because you didn't feel like it, and they're like, it's okay, just show up whenever you feel like it. If you want to come next week, it's fine. If you want to come the following week, it's fine. If not, it doesn't matter. If someone wants to hear your podcast, we'll call you, and then you can come in and you could do the podcast whenever they want. You would never You would never do that. What were you saying? You were teaching your kids factors yesterday?
Exponents.
Oh,
Exponents? You're teaching them exponents? I'm sure your kids know when a library book is due, they take it back on time, and they know where to take it back, correct?
I mean, yeah, they do.
All right, why is it
take out books from the library at school, though, so they just take them back to school.
Why is it so crazy for me to want my kids to need accountability? My delinquent children who did not return their books, and then I have to figure out where to take them back and offer to pay for that out of my money, and then no one will even take it. I wanted to be punished yesterday for the sins of my family, and the library system wouldn't give it to me.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I've heard Chris Cody read.
That's fair.
At Batard,
I want to give Chris some credit and chastise you. There was a couple days ago where Chris Cody made an incredibly smart and funny joke, and y'all just blew by it. And I was hurt. I called Chris personally to tell him that was a good joke. He said that Ken Rosenthal looked in third person, and I thought that was funny. It was a good joke, and you guys just didn't expect for it to be anything smart or funny to come from him. Or I guess you expect funny things, but you expect to laugh at him, not appreciate the man's funny, smart joke.
I think we're well within our right to not expect smart from him.
He's earned that disrespect, and he can be funny as long as he's not reading, or he can be intentionally funny. When he's reading, he's unintentionally funny. Let's put these poll questions up. Should the library raise your children and teach them about accountability? Are you surprised the library isn't extinct? And do you love the pizza buffet? I took my take to my wife the other day about the library and learned that she had recently not only been to the library, but stunned the librarian, who was suddenly radiant when she asked for a library card, which evidently someone hadn't asked for in weeks, because we're not doing that very much anymore. The asking, the getting of a library card, I can't imagine is happening a whole lot these days.
I appreciate that you are trying to pay with cash and your wife is trying to get a library card. We are just turning back the clock in the Batard household.
That's right. We got to the library, horse and wagon.
You guys didn't know that W was spelled out. Like, I'm sorry, I didn't think that you guys were like the cutting edge of literacy. Like,
how do you spell it?
History. I mean, you spell it like W, like obviously. And I mean, actually, in like French, I believe they call it a double V, which like you guys talked about that yesterday. Yeah, so like you talked about how it should be a double V because that's what it looks like, but it was originally a W. In French, it is the influence why we say Z instead of Z, right? Because everyone else in English says Z. We say Z, and I believe that's also French influence.
How do you spell W? The word double and then a U?
That's how I would have spelled it.
You don't know how to spell it.
You don't need to spell letters. They're letters.
You don't.
They're not words.
Do you know what the dot over top of the I and the J is? Know what it's called? It's not a dot. You're not crossing your T's and dotting your I's. You're crossing your T's, tittling your I's. Gotta tittle them.
Whoa, that sounds sensual. That sounds like you do that slowly. You're a tittler.
I mean, I did earlier, man.
I had someone reach out to me about the P's and Q's conversation yesterday. If you want some info on the P's and Q's.
Hey, Domonique, stop. You've barely let Billy talk this segment.
P's and Q's.
We were doing that thing where he's talking and I'm doing another thing.
No, that leads to very long
get a
post-show
word in
meetings,
edgewise.
I got to tell you. No one finds it as funny as you do. We're going to be here till 4 o'clock. Dan's going to tell us we're talking over each other.
When did making plans get this complicated? It's time to streamline with WhatsApp, the secure messaging app that brings the whole group together. Use polls to settle dinner plans. Send event invites and pin messages so no one forgets Mom's 60th. And never miss a meme or milestone. All protected with end-to-end encryption. It's time for WhatsApp. Message privately with everyone. Learn more at whatsapp.com.
It's Pro Savings Days at Lowe's. Get up to 35% off select major appliances and save an additional $1,000 when you buy 4 select LG major appliances. Plus, get a free DeWalt 20-volt max 5 amp-hour battery when you buy a select DeWalt 20-volt max tool. Get the job done for less at Lowe's. We help. You save. Valid through 9/26. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. See associate or Lowe's.com for more details and qualifying items.
There's a reason Chevy trucks are known for their dependability, because they show up no matter the weather, push forward no matter the terrain, and deliver. That's why Chevrolet has earned more dependability awards for trucks than any other brand in 2025, according to J.D. Power. Because in every Chevy truck, like every Chevy driver, dependability comes standard. Visit Chevy.com to learn more. Chevrolet received the highest total number of awards among all the trucks in the J.D. Power 2025 U.S. Vehicle Dependability Study. Awards based on 2022 models. Newer models may be shown. Visit JDPower.com/awards for more details. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
Don Batard.
Go ahead, Billy. Ask him your question.
Is gymnastics possibly corrupt?
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Stugotz.
I got some phlegm in my mouth, yeah.
It's okay. Vacation.
Yeah.
Is gymnastics possibly corrupt?
This is the Don Batard Show with the Stugotz.
P's and Q's refers to when printers use letter set presses and would have to set letters backwards when they were setting up for the printing. It would be easy to confuse the two letters since they are nearly mirror images. So they said, mind your P's and Q's.
Oh, so it's not thank yous.
No, that information was bad yesterday.
That was Jeremy.
I'm glad we were able to clarify that. Billy, always a model of efficiency. Thank you for taking care of that for us. I'll see you in that 4-hour meeting after the show. We'll talk about everything that happened.
Talking over to each other.
Let's speed up Domonique Foxworth here and get as much football information as we can. Get your football questions ready. We're going to go as fast as we can here. True or false, the Vikings will be better with Carson Wentz?
False. I think the assumption that Carson Wentz will function on time, even though that's never been his style of play, and this offense is a faulty one. I think the issues that Carson Wentz has had are not going to necessarily be rectified by the fact that he's with KLC. But bringing back Darashaw, I think Darashaw's healthy again. That will change the offense.
It's early, but Bo Nix is presently rated the worst quarterback in the league by Pro Football Focus. Now, I will apply context. They also claim Baker Mayfield has been the second worst quarterback in the league, and we know that to be false. So what do you make of this?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Bo Nix stuff is simple. Their offense is designed around short passes, like screen-type passes, and deep shots. And Bo Nix has thrown a lot of interceptions on the deep shots so far this year, and that's really slowed down their offense. And if the only passes that they're gonna allow you to take downfield end up in like interceptions and incomplete passes, yeah, they're gonna have to rework that offense in a way to allow Bo Nix to make some plays.
Can you explain the Baker rating then? Because he's played pretty clean for Baker Mayfield. He always has a healthy amount of interceptions because he's taken the shots. He's done things without tackles. Isn't PFF supposed to apply context? That one confused me as a Baker Mayfield homer.
Yeah, I have a hard time with that also, but my assumption is they factor in they don't factor in the result of the play as much as they factor in the process of the play. So if there's someone open that he misses, they'll count that against him if there's a bad play. Or if there's an interception that's dropped where it won't count against you in QBR or stats, or it won't hurt you if you lose the game, they will count as an interception, like a intercepted or turnover-worthy play.
He had one of those on Monday night, no doubt.
Yeah, so I think that's probably why.
Why are we talking so much about the tush push?
Because it stinks and it's boring and no one likes it. But, I mean, I understand why the Eagles like it and they want to defend it and their fans want to defend it. But my biggest frustration with it is I want to see football players play. Like, the opportunity cost of Saquon Barkley not having the ball or a fade to A.J. Brown is I get to see a bunch of guys push each other. That kind of stinks.
Whoa. Whoa. You just struggled with that word the way that Tom Brady struggled with Kareem Hunt.
Yeah. You should go faster. What do you make of all the overhead camera angles that make it look like the Eagles are cheating on every tush push with every single offensive lineman lining up offside?
You're right, they are. But you ain't cheating, you ain't trying, I guess, right? That's what they say. And I like what I like, man. I'm sorry that sometime I had a Freudian slip.
Thoughts on Travis Hunter so far?
Yeah, it's a complicated situation over there. He's still an incredible athlete. Obviously, I see it out there. I don't like the way that they're using him. It seems as if a player with that frame is not someone that you want to get short passes over the middle of the field, but it feels like that's what they do with him offensively. And defensively, like, he just needs more and more reps. He's obviously comfortable over there. He's going to be fine.
Chiefs at Giants on Sunday night. Any way the Chiefs fall to 0-3?
I mean, it's possible. I was on Dan Patrick the other day, and he said it, and it blew my mind because I never considered it as a possibility. But we saw what happened last night. It was a very winnable game for the Dolphins. The talent differential is so close. But I have a hard time thinking it'll be a blowout, and I'll have an even harder time picking Russell Wilson in a close game over Patrick Mahomes. So I don't really see the path to a win. It's just neighbors going absolutely nuclear is the only way they could win that game.
The Domonique Foxworth show with Charlie Kravitz. He does a preview episode.
With Charlie? He don't got no damn with. What are we doing? That's a producer who I gave a microphone with Charlie Kravitz. Get that man's name off my show, Dan.
The Domonique Foxworth show with Charlie Kravitz does a preview episode every Friday this season with Mina Kimes, a recap episode every Monday with Bill Barnwell, and sources have informed me that on your show you had the opposite Vikings take. You said they'd look better with Wentz, and you're being accused of being Stugotz.
Oh, yeah, you got to mix it up, man. You got to put a little seed here, a little seed there. But it's okay to change your mind. Like, I learned from the great Mike Ryan is when you were wrong, and it's okay to admit that you were wrong. I was wrong yesterday, and now I'm right.
What's the conversation around the Bears if they fall to 0-3? They're hosting Dallas this weekend.
Yeah, the only conversation is going to be around Caleb's development. I think that's the thing that matters the most. And it depends how they fall to 0-3. If they still have difficulty running the ball, I think the conversation is going to be about addressing that position. But the defense, I think, is pretty bad right now. And the way they want to play, they need a dominant defensive line, and they don't have that.
Does that Monday night performance say more about the Chargers defense or Geno Smith? Because that was very confusing.
The Chargers defense is great. It's another team that they like to play a lot of quarters, which allows the safeties to get in the run game. They surprisingly give up a lot, or not a lot, but more explosive plays than you would expect for a good defense. But I think that's the most important part. They're going to be a contender. I don't think anyone thought or thinks the Raiders are going to be. So I find the Chargers far more interesting.
Will the Dolphins have a top 5 pick in the draft?
Yeah.
Do you agree with Zaslow and Colin Cowherd that Jim Harbaugh is an all-time great already, or in Colin Cowherd's case, that he's the best football coach there's ever been if you include college and pros and exclude Pete Carroll?
No. I do not agree with that beluga-ass take. It's a lot of head with a lot of brain and a really weak-ass take. I mean, it's sad that Colin Cowherd stole it from you.
Yes.
That was good for you to come up with. He did
Pathetic.
steal it, so it's an interesting discussion, but like an all-time great? Let's stop it, man.
Outside of the Green Bay Packers, which Kraft got hurt yesterday in practice too, so they're doing their annual thing of getting really banged up here. Outside of the Green Bay Packers, though, who is the team the Philadelphia Eagles want to see the least?
Well, I mean, I assume you're talking about in the NFC because
in the NFC.
Yeah.
Because there is one team down south that has our number.
Yeah, I mean, the Bucks, I think, is the right answer to that question. The Bucks are the team that they probably are. They beat them in the playoffs a couple years ago, and they don't even have, to your point you made earlier, they don't even have their best offensive lineman in Tristan Wirfs. They're moving people around and making the best of it. I think that defense is going to get better as the season goes along, and they're already pretty good. So I think that's probably the team that – actually, nope, take it back, Rams.
Well, that'll play out this weekend.
What Matt Stafford is doing?
He's, for the record, he is the top-rated quarterback according to PFF.
Yeah, the throws that he's making, like it's incredible. There's no defense for a perfect throw, and he's made like 10, like not just perfect throws, like impossibly perfect throws so far this season. And they have the personnel on defense, I think, to give the Eagles some trouble. So we'll see this weekend.
Joined our good friend Dave Damashek on Football America this week, and we had a debate, greatest number 9 in NFL history. Now, we agreed that it's Drew Brees, but if Matthew Stafford gets another Super Bowl, does it become Matthew Stafford?
Ooh, I mean, I laughed at Dan Orlovsky when he said that Matthew Stafford was in the Hall of Fame after he won the Super Bowl, but he might get in there eventually because of the way that he continues to play. Yeah, I don't know. Sure, he can have it.
Or are you a Sonny Jurgensen guy?
Nah, I'm Rodney Peete. Give me Rodney Peete.
What's real and what's not real on Daniel Jones?
I think it's all real. Like I think it's a lot of help. Like, I think Daniel Jones is a serviceable quarterback, and there are a number of quarterbacks that I think that are around the middle of the league as far as talent is concerned, and in the right situation will have a lot of success. Of course, there are going to be some bad games. Like, I feel like it's a very Sam Darnold-like situation, where it's like in the right situation, which they have a good offensive line. That dude Warren, he's incredible as far as athleticism is concerned at tight end, and they have skilled players, and Taylor's running the ball well. So I think it's more about the situation. I don't think that Daniel Jones was ever like just terrible. He just was mediocre in a bad situation. Now he's mediocre in a good situation, which makes him good.
You're not terribly surprised by that because you thought the Colts would indeed be good. What has surprised you the most this season?
Ooh, surprised me the most. I mean, the week 1 ridiculous game and the Bills was like shocking in that moment. That surprised me. I think this sounds silly because I know how you feel about this, Dan, but I am a little surprised that the Chiefs offense is still as pedestrian as it is, especially with Josh Simmons playing that tackle spot as well as he planned, because I thought that was the problem. I thought Patrick Mahomes, if you could protect him, and the protection elsewhere is not perfect, but if you could protect him with a solid left tackle, then he'll be able to make other things happen. But I think the connection that Patrick relies on with his receivers down the field, that's been off. He hasn't had that. You see sometimes people are open and he'll throw it to a spot and they are like a couple steps off, and it seems like even with Travis Kelce has happened a couple times. So that's weird. And then watching Patrick Mahomes try to run people over, it's like, does he just want to get hurt so he doesn't have to deal with this season anymore? He's just 3 times in the first 2 weeks, he put his shoulder down and ran people over in unnecessary situations.
I think you guys are framing me unfairly as it regards the Chiefs. He's just been a dink and dunk quarterback because of circumstances. It's not because he's not good.
I think we actually helped you find that because of circumstances line. And I shall remind you that a phrase that was uttered on this show earlier today was they made Josh Allen do that Patrick Mahomes thing. Yeah. You just knocked the 2 best quarterbacks in the league.
Because Allen attempted only 1 pass over 10 air yards yesterday.
I can't with this guy. Patrick Mahomes is great, and so is Josh Allen.
But I don't think so. When you say that Patrick Mahomes thing, I was with you. I don't think I was mischaracterizing what you were saying. I agree with some of the things that you were saying. But when you say that Patrick Mahomes thing, the thing I identify with Patrick Mahomes is not dinking and dunking. If anyone ever says, you're doing that Patrick Mahomes thing, I'm going to say thank you. I'm not going to be like, me?
The last 2 years, he's been someone who throws underneath by design because that's what the defenses are doing and that's what the limitations of the offense are. And that's what happened to Josh Allen last night. Josh Allen was not throwing the ball down the field. He wasn't.
All right, I can't wait till you have a sit down with Mike and you also learn to admit when you're wrong and back off of it.
The Domonique Foxworth Show with Charlie Kravitz. Episodes Friday with Mina Kimes and every Monday with Bill Barnwell. If you have an absence of Miami racism in your life, that is a good spot for it. The Domonique Foxworth Show. See you later, Dominique. Good seeing you.
Bye.
Now's a good time to remember where tequila's story truly began. In 1795, Cuervo invented tequila.
Cuervo.
What are you doing here?
Cuervo. Anytime someone says Cuervo, I show up.
Well, I do know that to be true, but even during ad reads,
Cuervo.
I think you could lay out, especially for one of our great partners.
Sweet, delicious Cuervo.
Since then, Cuervo has stayed true to its roots. The same family, the same land, the same passion.
Cuervo.
So, enjoy the tequila that started it all. Cuervo.
Cuervo.
The tequila that invented tequila. Proximo. Cuervo.com. Please drink responsibly.